Deontay Wilder insists that it is inevitable he will fight Anthony Joshua. So to quote him directly here, he said, "I'm still in the business. Joshua is still in the business. People always tell me when you're going to fight Joshua. That's the biggest fight in the world between us still. So it ain't if, it's just when." Okay? Those are the words from Wilder. Now, this is obviously a fight I've long wanted to see. I've long wanted to see AJ, Fury, Wilder all fight each other. And it looked for a long time as though we might see it, but for various reasons, we never saw AJ against Fury or Wilder yet. And certainly the last time over the past few weeks was because AJ, at least in my view, ducked the fight with Tyson Fury. But AJ against Wilder at this stage seems maybe a realistic fight because of the fact that they're both at a crossroads. Deontay Wilder's a bit older than AJ. He's been stopped badly a couple times. With Anthony Joshua, he's been stopped badly once. He's lost twice on points. So they're in a similar situation. And I guess it would kind of make sense for them to face each other, especially if neither of them are able to get a title shot via somebody giving them a voluntary shot, right? I mean, again, AJ apparently, from my perspective, just turned down an opportunity to fight Tyson Fury. Will he get another opportunity again? Will he get an opportunity against Usyk? Will Fury extend an olive branch out to him in the future? We don't know. Perhaps he'll be forced into a situation where he has to fight, let's say, an eliminator against somebody really dangerous. Now, if it's an eliminator against a Hrgovic or an eliminator, I mean, I know Hrgovic has just fought an eliminator, so that's unlikely, but I'm just using arbitrary examples here to emphasize a point or to make a point. If he has to fight a dangerous eliminator against a fighter who isn't really pay-per-view level in terms of their commercial value, he may think, you know what, that's an unnecessary risk. If I have to fight somebody dangerous in an eliminator, let's make the most money out of it possible. In which case, Deontay Wilder would be, or potentially, that option. So yeah, I could see the fight happening at some stage. Now, stylistically, I've always felt as though AJ has a better chance against Tyson Fury than he does against Deontay Wilder. And I know there are going to be people, even people who should know better, who are scoffing at the idea that AJ's got a better chance against Fury than he has against Wilder. But I go back to the old adage, styles make fights. And it's absolutely true. I think that Tyson Fury's style, not that AJ's necessarily going to beat Tyson Fury, but I just think he'd have more success against him. With Deontay Wilder, I've always felt that his dynamic approach, and he's a dynamic fighter, Deontay Wilder, you know, he's extremely explosive, very fast with the right hand. He'll be able to catch AJ off guard, I think, more so than Tyson Fury would. Tyson Fury against AJ, to me, is more of a boxing match, at least for a while. Whereas with Deontay Wilder, he's a gunslinger. He's looking to take your head off with every punch. And someone who doubts himself, and Deontay Wilder pointed this out recently, as much as Anthony Joshua, I think he'd be more anxious in the ring against Deontay Wilder than he would against Tyson Fury. Because Tyson Fury doesn't have that kind of, I mean, nobody does, right? Explosive right hand at long range. He doesn't have, Fury doesn't have that kind of thing. So, yeah, I've always felt as though Wilder is a more dangerous fight for AJ. And I guess I still feel that way now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Styles make fights. I'm sure that there are going to be some Fury fanboys out there who will say that styles make fights doesn't apply to Tyson Fury because he's just that good. He escapes the whole, styles make fights thing. Well, I've yet to be convinced of that. I've seen very few fighters in the history of boxing who have escaped the styles make fights thing. I mean, to give you a few off the top of the head examples, Lennox Lewis, early on in his career, had a real tough fight with a journeyman called Levi Billups, who never even had an amateur career. That fight went the distance. Lewis got his eye cut. I think he had like 7 stitches, puffy eyes. Yeah, it went the distance with Levi Billups. And Billups, a couple fights later, I think it was, got knocked out in about 2 rounds by Corey Sanders. You know what I mean? Styles make fights, folks. And of course, when you could look at Razor Ruddock, he went the distance with Mike Tyson, and in the previous fight, he was stopped in 7 rounds, and that was a controversial stoppage, at least back then. Whereas when he fought Lennox Lewis, he gets knocked out in 2. But if you contrast that with Frank Bruno, Lewis stops Bruno in 7, whereas Mike Tyson in the rematch with Bruno, because I'm going to compare Lewis Bruno to Tyson Bruno 2, because it was closer together. Those 2 fights were closer together than, let's say, Lewis versus Tyson Bruno 1, which I think happened in 87 or 88. So, and the Lewis Bruno fight, I think, was 93, 94. So, yeah, Lewis stops Bruno in 7. Mike Tyson stops Bruno in, was it 2 rounds, 3 rounds? I think 3 rounds, wasn't it, in the rematch? So, styles make fights. You know, Evander Holyfield, he beats Mike Tyson twice, fights Lennox Lewis, you know. So, that's the way boxing has always been. Certainly heavyweight boxing. The most famous example, but I've given it too many times, is the George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Muhammad Ali situation, where Foreman's wiping everybody out, people that have beaten Ali and given him a tough time, and then Ali comes along and beats Foreman. Boxing is littered with that kind of thing. So, same situation here, at least from my perspective. I think the Wilder fight is more dangerous for AJ. There's a higher likelihood that he gets knocked out in dramatic fashion, I think, against Wilder than there is against Fury. I thought that Wilder's assessment of a Fury Joshua fight was very interesting. He said he didn't see a knockout happen in that fight at all, and he can see it going the distance. I've said that many times in the past, but this was when AJ was still undefeated. I said I could see AJ Fury going the distance and actually being a bit of a boxing match. If AJ can get his confidence where it needs to be, then maybe I still see it that way. Regardless of whether AJ wins or not, I see it as being more of a boxing match, kind of like the Tyson Fury-Dillian Whyte fight. Because, yeah, Tyson Fury knocked Dillian Whyte out, but he didn't fight the way he did in the Wilder fights, did he? He wasn't like pressing forward and piling loads of pressure on Dillian Whyte. No, it was a boxing match. He was keeping things long, using his jab and, walking Dillian Whyte onto shots. It was a careful game plan by Tyson Fury. And I suspect if AJ gets his confidence back, and it's a big if, by the way, I'm not saying he will, but if he were to get his confidence back, then, yeah, I reckon a Tyson Fury fight might be something similar to that, a boxing match that may well go the distance. So, all this stuff about Tyson Fury knocking AJ out, I think right now would be his best chance to knock AJ out, now that AJ's confidence is low. But down the line, if he gets it back up, might be different. Might be Tyson Fury having to go the distance, see if he wins on points. Anyway, the main topic of this video is Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. And if I was forced to pick a winner in that fight, at this stage, prior to the Helenius comeback, because we don't know how he's going to look against Helenius, bear in mind, because if he ends up looking poor, if he ends up looking like a fighter that's on the way down, on the slide, a shot fighter, then what I'm about to say now doesn't apply. But if Deontay can somehow still be the guy that we saw prior to the Fury defeats, then I'd probably pick him over AJ. And I've been asked this question many times over the years. And for the most part, I've always said this, that I would, if push comes to shove, I'd probably favor Deontay Wilder over AJ to win by knockout, Because again, Wilder is, yes, limited, but he's an extremely, extremely strong-willed character. He's a very, very fiery, and that right hand is like the, how can I describe it? But it's like all of his fire and all of his viciousness manifest in this one punch, and all his opponents know it's there. So yeah, I reckon I might, if Wilder's still the old Wilder, I probably lean towards him winning. Let's see if it happens. Let's hope it does. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.